whatever she did back then was back then. You know who she is with you. So it does not matter.
So now I don't know who I'm providing for. I don't know who I bought this house for. I don't know who I procreated and raising a child with. I don't know how I'm putting in 60 hours a week for. And you expect me to be okay with it. That's the issue.
Apparently, people settle down and their lives move on. Just like niggas be in the streets. We all know that. Niggas be in the streets. They're drug dealers. They be in the clubs. They buy bottles. They whatever. They hoeing out in the streets. Well, guess what? A couple years down the line, they're truck drivers. They're dads with dad bods. Like, listen, we're not the same people we were when we were young. I don't understand why this doesn't apply to women.
Floyd Mayweather was one of my biggest influences on life, like everything about him, like his whole career. And when you really look at it, like he really came, first of all, he came from a humble beginning. He didn't have his dad. So I felt like, obviously had that same unfortunate upbringing. And then the one thing that I always knew, but now it's kind of circulating on social media, is that he wanted to be great and he lost one time before he was a professional. And I remember when I first heard him say, I'm never going to lose again. Like, he made that promise to himself. Like, he couldn't really even talk during that interview, like the actual after the fight. But I watched him never lose again. And then I learned something about life. I was only probably like 10 years old or 12 years old when I learned this about life. I was like, through Floyd Mayweather's career, it's like people will pay top dollar to see you lose. And now I realized, I was like, but that's only if you're great. So when I learned that, I was always rooting for him because everybody that was paying, he was selling out and breaking records. He wasn't doing it because of his talent. He was doing it because people didn't want to see him win. And they didn't want to see him win because he didn't want to be the person that they wanted him to be. He wanted to be himself. And Alan said this, so I'm going to probably just use that to make this make sense. Floyd Mayweather paid the price to be him throughout every fight, throughout every antic, throughout every interview, and throughout his lifestyle. And he's one of the only people that I can say that I watched and with such a big platform who's elevated, never lost, and never was not themselves. And I think, and it didn't matter whether he was Pretty Boy Floyd, or Money Mayweather, he still was him. And I think that is admirable, especially when people are paying millions upon millions of dollars to watch somebody physically knock you down. That's motivational in itself. Floyd Mayweather, Michael Jordan, those were the two people that I was like, all right, whatever you do, that's the standard that you need to hold yourself to. They're going to count you out. They're going to plot against you. They're going to try to force you to conform. They're going to try to take away your resources or your assets when you start actually outshining the fact that they can't stop you, or showing that fact that they can't stop you, but yet you stay the course and you never stop and you will become undeniable. And that was always my goal. Didn't matter what it was always my goal. And I really feel like they played a big part in why I'm even sitting here at 8 at the table, why I'm doing everything that I'm doing at the level that I'm doing it, even when I had big hiccups and obstacles that came into my journey. Just those are the type of people that I looked up to. Now, I don't know how they are behind closed doors. That's a whole different conversation.
Okay, so that really does sound amazing in terms of that motivating factor that keeps you going. But real life happens, right? Where you hit obstacles, you hit challenges, and sometimes you really get knocked down. Yes, you have the option of getting back up, but how do you navigate past those who can kill your dreams?
If I had to answer that question, I would say, for me, the only people that can kill your dreams are the one that you pass the sword to. Right?
That is
so
really awesome.
If I give you that sword, if I give you that knife, then if I relinquish that power to you, now I've given you the ability to kill my dream. But if I hold that weapon, I know that you can't do nothing. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. You do not possess the power to stop me from getting what I want to get in this life. And I think that's the best way I could say it. I don't think everybody's capable of accomplishing their dream. And sometimes I read the book Relentless by Tim Grover, right? He trained Michael Jordan, he trained Dwayne Wade, he trained Kobe Bryant, he trained LeBron James. And he trained a bunch of other people, but those are like the basketball trainees that he had that are like the most monumental.
Right.
And I completely agree 100% with his book. And there's some people who are going to be great, but they're still not it. And there's some people who are just relentless on their dream. They're relentless on their vision. It doesn't matter what you do. It really doesn't matter. You can lock this person up and sentence him to 20 years, and he'll come out in 20 years and still accomplish his dream or a dream of his. Those people are relentless. Now, there are a bunch of great people that do have, the resources and the work ethic to still obtain their dream. But if they are faced with certain obstacles, they do not have the power to get over it. And I'm just fortunate I believe I'm relentless. I don't think that everybody's like me. I think very, very, very few people are like me. But there are people who aren't like me that are higher than me, right? It's only for a short amount of time, though, just so you guys know. But yeah, so that's a book that I read, and I think that it is a personality type. It is a willpower that is indescribable, and some people will get there, and some people won't. Most won't, So that's why I'm not. When I be talking to Alan, like I'm not big on trying to empower the world because I understand I'm giving you power to something that you can't maintain or hold anyways. The past is not the fucking past, guys. The past is not the
So
past.
we received a DM from someone wanting advice. This person is from Portland. They've been dating a woman who is originally from New York. They've been together. They've been dating for 2 years. She refuses to go back to New York for any reason. Anytime that he mentions like, oh, let's go to New York, let's meet your friends or whatever, she doesn't want to do it.
Red flag.
He has the opportunity to go to New York and says, okay, I'm going to New York. Like, come, let's go. She hesitantly goes to New York with him. And while they're in New York, he finds out a whole bunch about her past. So I guess this was a people that he knew in New York, knew her kind of situation, and he found out a lot of things about her. She was a stripper. She gave a baby up for adoption out in New York.
Wow.
There's just a lot of things about her past that she did not disclose to him. So he wants to know what he should do.
Leave her. Leave her. Leave her.
Leave her?
Even if it's 10
I think
years.
that the question really is that does someone's past matter?
Yes. Because I don't like, here's the thing. I don't like when women specifically try to nitpick what part of the past or what situation of a past matters, right? Because if we go to an extreme and say, okay, the guy was a murderer when he was 21, but he's 45 and he only murdered one person, I would assume you would want to know that he did that in his past 20 years ago, even though he's probably a completely different person, correct?
I mean, true.
So now if you was a hoe, a stripper, and you try to relocate to rebrand, to fool me, right? To run from your past, and then I have to find out about your past through somebody else, you're automatically, in my eyes, disloyal and untrustworthy. You will omit certain information that you do not want to share, which is not how a good relationship or a transparent relationship is, or which is not how to make a transparent relationship.
I do think that omitting information is grounds for a sneaky liar.
Especially with a baby. Like you had a whole son, a daughter, and out. So if I marry you, I'm technically a father. But I don't even know it.
To play devil's advocate, as I usually do, she moved to Portland for this specific reason, was to get rid of all of that. So in no way do I think that she would get into a relationship and disclose everything she ran from. Now, I do think that 2 years in, no mention of this is a little bit crazy because I really want to know, like, what did he know about her past? Like, was he really like fishing for things? Like, was she being too quiet about things that made him curious? Or did she just tell him things that was just enough to be like, all right, well, that's just what I was doing. And, now I'm here.
You know how hard it is to rebrand to anybody who just has logical sense? Like if you move from one state to the next, and there's nobody to verify how you were or who you were in your previous state, of course somebody was gonna try to figure out who the fuck you were. If I met you at 25 years old, hypothetically, right? That means you lived 25 years somewhere else. Let's just actually move this up. If I met you at 30 years old, right? That means you lived 30 or 29 years old or 29 years somewhere else, and 10 of those years you were an adult, or 12 technically, right? But I know nothing about that. I don't know your experiences. You know how hard it is to try to even learn somebody who won't disclose their past? Because I don't know your triggers. I don't know your ticks. I don't know your habits. I don't know what you subconsciously like that you didn't even know that you like that I could bring forth to the relationship. When you hide your past, you're literally hiding a whole, realistically, your whole identity from me. And you want me to learn this representative of you, which is, again, to me, dishonest. If you run, you can run from your past. Just don't run to me. Like, don't run to me, don't run to him, and don't listen. If you don't tell your story, matter of fact, here you go. If you don't tell your story to whomever it is, somebody else will.